another video game series Ramble. Yeah, I've done one for Cyberpunk, one for Hitman, and today we're going to be talking about the Batman Arkham series. This Bat figure's cool. Got it at a Comic-Con earlier this year, actually, for like $6, so it's pretty cool. I'll leave him in the background here. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited to make this. I almost talked about every Batman game, but this video's gonna be long enough. I'm pretty sure. My goal is to try to keep it down to 25 minutes, but every time I say that, I go way beyond it, so whatever it ends at is whatever it ends at, right? Now, unfortunately, I do not have my copy of Arkham Saga. Years ago, I let a friend of mine borrow it, and then I joined the military and never asked for it back. I'm pretty sure at some point I might have even told him to keep it. He was really liking it, and you know, I was just happy to have made a Batman fan. However, actually, I can't believe I just completely forgot about this. Give me a second, I'm gonna try to be quiet. I do have something. About the Arkham Asylum pop figure. You can see me in the background, sorry. Not exactly a pleasant sight. This is nice. So, yeah, I want to be out of the way enough. So, my funny story when it comes to Arkham Asylum. So, I didn't know anything about it when I got it. I was very out of touch as a kid. I didn't even know that 360. I didn't know anything about the Xbox 360 or the PlayStation 3. I remember Christmas one year was coming around. The only thing I asked for was Batman Dark Tomorrow. I knew it was bad, but at the time it was actually pretty cheap. And I was at that point where I'm like, alright, I don't really want to ask for anything. But she's trying to get, my mom is trying to see what, what I would want. I was like, alright, well, I really want that. I didn't tell her it was bad. It was like $7 at the time. Well, it was a very good year for me, Christmas-wise, because either she had no idea what it was, or maybe she went out of her way. She ended up buying me an Xbox 360 with Batman Arkham Asylum, which I was like, okay, I have no idea what this is, but that's incredible, right? That's a bargain right there. I knew nothing about the game, so I popped it in. And the trajectory of my life was forever changed. I've always been a Batman fan, but I went from getting one of the worst Batman games of all time to one of what's regarded as one of the best, The free flow combat system that Rocksteady practically perfected. They only got better with all their games, but Arkham Asylum was kind of the start of that adventure for them. Or, to my knowledge, it is anyway. I'm sure other companies have done it, but either way, I love this game so much. I'll talk about it briefly before moving on to the rest, because I have a lot to say about every one of them. But I still remember It's a weird memory. I remember I was young enough to be like frightened easily. When I was younger, I was really not good with horror or anything like that. I liked thrillers for the most part. But I remember the Scarecrow missions genuinely kind of scared me a bit. Okay, well, sorry, not the Scarecrow one. I mean, the Scarecrow ones unsettled me. It was the Killer Croc one, where you're in the sewer, and I mean, I just couldn't do it. I had to ask my dad to help me at some point. I love it now. I just did it the other day. Obviously, it doesn't still scare me, but I mean, I was terrified at the time, and I liked that. I especially liked it going back. It's a great memory. It's a great game. It's very Metroidvania, is that the term? Where it's like very linear, but there's like areas where you can go one way or the other, you know? Is that what that means? I don't know. I enjoyed the stealth. I had a lot of fun at the time playing this. I loved the armored batsuit. I know a lot of people hated on that at the time, which to each their own. I loved it. It was very cool how metallic and shiny it was. How rounded, very bubbly, you know. But I also love the Batwing from this game. It's my favorite design of the three. I love the Batmobile and the Batwing from this game. Just, to me, iconic. And as much as I like the designs later on, I think those are the best designs. It was the start of quite an adventure. I wish it had a bit of a different ending at the time. I liked it, but looking back on it, I'm like, alright, did Joker really have to, well, spoiler, did Joker really have to inject himself with Titan? I mean, I get, we wouldn't have gotten Arkham City without that, but like, you know, okay, right, sure, whatever, we'll fight Big Joker. I mean, it's still an epic ending where he's like, I'll never give in. Never. That slow-mo punch with explosive gel on his fist. I mean, that's cool, but every bone in his hand and arm should have been broken because it's breaking concrete walls. I don't care what armor you're wearing, Batman. You just lost yourself a limb. Or at least all of your fingers. But whatever. It's a comic book video game, and I love it. So, that's Arkham Asylum. I remember I had jumped on I had played the game kind of at the perfect time. It wasn't too late. Arkham City hadn't been announced yet, but it was further, like much after it had come out. I don't remember. I think this came out in 2009, right? And did Arkham City come out in 2011, 2012? I was probably at the very end of 2010. Maybe it was announced. I'm a bit lost on the details. Like I said, I was very much out of touch. But it was around the time I started getting Game Informers from my neighbors. He would read them, and then we were best friends. We still are. So when he was done reading it, he'd give it to me, and then I'd get to go through it, or we'd go through it together. And I remember the day I got the Arkham City one. It was like, oh my god, they're making a sequel to my favorite game of all time. That's how much I loved Arkham Asylum. I called it my favorite video game of all time, which I think is fair. I don't think many people would have given me, crap for that. No one did at the time anyway. But I remember flipping to that Game Informer going, oh my god, this looks so good. So good. It's the first game I ever pre-ordered and went to a midnight release for. My mom, and it was one of those for GameStop, so my mom and my sister came with me, and they both won shirts. And my mom won something else. I think it was a cake. So, quite a steal. Now the copy's not in great condition. Unfortunately, I was also at the age where I didn't know how to take care of my game, so... I love the sounds. guess let me move it over. Oh, it's still too far to hold up. I'm trying to set a thumbnail real quick. This ought to be pretty good, right? Something like that. Alright. Sorry, I'm gonna start doing that. See if it looks better than just some random shot of my hands. But yeah, Arkham City came out. Oh, I can read the back of this one now. No escape from Arkham City, the sprawling mega prison in the heart of Gotham City, home to its most violent thugs and infamous supervillains. With the lives of innocent civilians at stake, only one man can save them and bring justice to the streets. Batman. Activate your Batman Arkham City Pass to unlock Catwoman as an exclusive playable character. So, it's rated T for alcohol reference, blood, mild language, suggestive themes, use of tobacco, and what? Violence. No way. In a game where you're beating up people and you have, guns, bombs, there's creatures in the sewers, And it says 3D compatible game, which we all know is pointless. I don't know how many people actually played with 3D glasses. But very quickly, this became my favorite game in the series and of all time, because it's such an important evolution of Arkham Asylum. It took everything and got better. I really liked it a lot at the time, more so than I like it now, for two reasons, or for one big reason, and then I'm sure I have some nitpicks along the way that I'm just kind of consolidating into a second reason. And this is going to sound ridiculous. I'm sure people are going to give me hate for it. So I'm going to grab a second piece of gum while I prepare. You ready? I actually think people might agree about. I think the Catwoman sequences interrupt the flow of the game, and I don't enjoy them, especially when I'm playing on higher difficulty levels, because I don't play as Catwoman, and if I put the game down for several months to a year, and I come back to, and once I just continue, I don't want to restart. Anytime I'm on a Catwoman level, I turn it off. I mean, I try to win, but there's a few moments in the Catwoman story where it's like, if I wasn't familiar with it, I was just gonna get my shit rocked over and 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 over. So that is just a skill issue on my part, I'm sure. But even narratively, I just don't like it. I mean, it's cool. It's shoehorned in. And I would have, well, I love the Robin DLC. It's also kind of just fluffed in there, but it doesn't interrupt the story, right? I almost would have preferred if that was reversed, right? If Robin had a story throughout the game that you can choose to play as, and the Catwoman had a post-game story. You know? I don't know. That would have been nice. But regardless, that's nitpicking. I do love what's there. In all honesty, it's not that I full-on hate the Catwoman missions. I miss back in the day when the base copy, you just could play without it. And the remaster that they made You just can't turn it off. You can play it separately, but I don't think you can turn it off. So you have to play the count and stuff, right? If there's a way to turn it off, and I'm just ridiculous, please ignore this. I'll go check after this. Oh my goodness, those dogs. It's just wild. They haven't barked all day. They must know what's going on. Either way, that's Arkham City. I love this game. Such an incredible story. Incredible voice cast. I mean, the acting in the first one was incredible. It's just a notch above here. You really can see it. You can hear the toll that this is all taken on Batman. And don't even get me started on the boss fights. Boss fights in Arkham Asylum are good. They're alright. They're a bit samey. But I think what this game is famous for is the Mr. Freeze fight. I mean, it's so cool, so inventive. However, and this is where I'm gonna rustle some feathers. Mr. Freeze is my second favorite boss fight in this Arkham series, and I know whenever I get to my favorite, people are probably gonna be not surprised I like it, but surprised that I like it more than the Mr. Freeze fight, if that makes sense. But the boss fights in this game are much better. I like how Asylum and Grundy's fight worked. It was like fundamentally similar, but are similar to like the big bads of like Bane in the first game. Bane continues to get shafted in this one in a game where they kind of not perfected, but really improve on like fighting bigger creatures and bosses. Bane didn't get any of that treatment. He got the same fight as the first game, pretty much, and even shorter, actually. So it's ridiculous, but you know, I mean, of course, spoilers for all this. Clayface, Solomon Grundy, really nice stuff. I love the teases too. Other games too. I remember I would very often go look at the little boat where you can see Scarecrow's experiment. I would go there all the time before the next games came out. I was so excited because Scarecrow is my personal favorite Batman villain. I grew up with Batman Begins, so I already had a fondness, but I still think he's like so interesting, you know? I don't want to say he's underutilized because they use him quite often, but I still think I haven't fully seen him utilized to the extent that I'd love to see him as a supervillain. One of these days, right? One of these days. One of these days. One of these days. This is another game I'd love to do a gameplay for. All of them, really all the Arkham games, except for Arkham Knight. I like it. It's just much longer, or it feels longer. I'll get that. Let me actually put this out of the way. One last for the road. So next up, we're going to talk about another game that I was able to pre-order and attend the midnight release for. Batman Arkham Origins. So while the first two and Arkham Knight are made by Rocksteady, this one was made by WB Games Montreal. And this one doesn't make as good noises. Your enemies will define you. Black Mask's assassins face off against 8 of the deadliest assassins in the DC universe as they compete for a $50 million prize on Batman's head. Prowl the streets of Gotham, explore a vast Gotham, stop crimes in progress, solve mysteries, and search for a rogue hacker's blackmail data. A world of first encounter, don't know where I got that. Experience Batman's first encounters with some of his greatest allies and enemies. Expand your arsenal. Equip the versatile remote claw and devastating shock gloves as you stalk the suggest this is a prequel to the, entire Arkham series. It's also kind of the black sheep of the family. It's often forgotten, left out of all the remasters and ports. I'm lucky that it's backwards compatible for the Xbox. And I don't really care. I love this game. I always have. I was there from the launch. Even with the buggy experience. Honestly, it's the only one so far. Sorry. It's the first one that I have 100% completed. Arkham Asylum was the second, actually. And I have not 100% completed Arkham Knight, technically I'm 100% completed. I haven't 240%, like where you do it twice on Arkham Knight. I'm actually in the process of doing that now. Arkham City, I just haven't done it yet. Arkham Knight feels more like a chore to do, so I started it first, but back to the topic. I love this game. I think it was overhated at the time, but it's also fair. It's like a weird camp that I'm in, where people were upset that, spoiler alert, Black Mask is not the main villain of this game, even though he's touted as it, and all the trailers show him. It's actually the Joker, which people didn't like about him. I'm not fully in love with the idea of that. I do wish they took a different route narrative-wise, but I do love what the game is. And I think if they remade this game, like if they did a full-on remake, it would be incredible. And just to cover it early, the Deathstroke fight is my favorite fight in the series. I have great memories of this. However, my game bugged when I first played it. So the quick time events, where you have to like bash and block and stuff, the pop-up where it's telling you what buttons to press, they were not appearing on the screen. So Batman would just kind of stand there still, and I'm like, what am I supposed to press? And I'd have to guess. And I tried it over and over and over and over again, and it never popped up. Eventually, I beat him without the icons. And it was so ridiculous. I was like, I'm never going to replay this shit again. And I decided to give it another shot, and when the icons popped up, I'm like, this is infuriating. To know that I spent that much time when I could have just probably closed out the game and the icons would pop up. For whatever reason, in that one play session, they didn't pop up, but the second play, I don't know. I don't know if it's like that on the harder difficulties. I have not played this one on the hardest because I'm not gonna lie, I'm a casual gamer. I like playing on normal. And on some games, I might even play it on easy. I don't care. Some games I play it on hard. Arkham Asylum, Arkham City. More recently, Arkham Knight. Maybe I'll have to go back and play it again on harder difficulty, but some games I just want to beat, man, don't overthink it. But I love the Deathstroke boss fight. I love the Firefly boss fight. I love all of Bane's boss fights, especially the last one where he's huge and bulking. You kind of get to watch him deteriorate as he really tries to beat Batman. Kind of scary though. I was scared my first playthrough of that. Or, I'm not scared, but not comfortable. It's like, this is insane. And the online mode is the last thing I'm going to talk about. I mean, I love this game. I'm not going to rank them later. I don't know. I kind of thought more would come with what I have to say, but, just so many good memories. I really like this one. I think it's overhated. And nowadays, I think it's starting to get the appreciation it deserves. They have that MetaQuest sequel. That infuriates me to no end because I want to sequel to this game so bad, and if I want to play that one, I'm gonna have to buy a MetaQuest 3, which is, I have no other interest, I have no other reason to buy it, and I just don't have the money to spend right now, so it looks like I'll have to watch a Let's Play on YouTube or something. I'm hoping we get an honest to goodness Arkham Origins sequel one of these days. But, you know, Lord knows if that'll ever happen. I'd settle just for them to acknowledge that it exists one of these days. Anyway, I'm sorry. The online. I know it also got a lot of hate, and it was a buggy experience for a time. I'm not saying they ever fixed it, or that it was perfect. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I had a few friends of mine who I convinced to play it with me, and they loved it too. I preferred playing as the guys with the guns over the heroes because they were just, I mean, as much fun as it is to be Batman and Robin, it's just funnier to play someone else. That and Joker and Bane were great. I really liked it. I really, really liked it. And a few friends. So, I'm not one of those guys who makes friends with, who makes friends with, strangers or randoms. But this game, I mean, because of the player base, right, it was hard to get into a server, even in its heyday, like even when it was like fresh. You get into a match with the same people, and eventually you'll add one of them to an Xbox party and talk smack or invite your teammates on into a party. And I've made several really good friends, one of which I played with the most every time I booted up Arkham Origins Online. Even if he wasn't playing it, he'd switch to it, and we'd start playing it. I haven't played with him in a while. I remember the last time I heard from him, it was in a Minecraft world, back on the 360. That's how long it's been. I still haven't added. He still gets online, but we just haven't played anything. I'm thinking about messaging him and seeing if there's anything he'd like to get back into, but yeah, great memories. I wish the online had a longer life. I wish they added more to it. The sad existence of a DC online shooter game, Gotham City Imposters, was another one I really liked. I'm not going to talk about this video because it's not related, but I really liked it as well. So, Arkham Origins. Followed by the divisive finale. Now, this case is in not great condition, and this is my fault. This whole spine is screwed. I'm not going to get into how it got messed up, but I am to blame. I also promoted this. I remember I had a bunch of friends sleeping over while we downloaded this. We were supposed to play it together, but I mean, that just didn't happen because it took forever to download with my slow internet. And by the time I did download it, everyone was asleep. Except for me. Be the Batman. As the United Forces of Gotham supervillains control. Wait. Oh, as the United Forces of Gotham's supervillains take control of the city, the Dark Knight unleashes the all-new transformable Batmobile in the explosive Arkham trilogy. Batman Arkham Knight is the ultimate and complete Batman experience. Which I don't disagree with. If I ever want to pop open an Arkham game, if I want to play as Batman, but I don't want to restart a campaign, or Arkham Knight is the most fun. Is it just drop in the world, jump in the Batmobile, drive around, jump out of the Batmobile, and beat the shit out of some people, and then call it a day. At the time I loved it. I got to see Scarecrow doing some Scarecrow things, but they kind of did the same thing Arkham Origins did, where they lied about who the villain is going to be. 2 L's in a row, if you ask me. Graphically, this is still one of the best looking games of all time. They just did so good with that. And the Batmobile is so much fun to drive. It's so comfortable. It's so easy to remember too, especially with how much I played it. They kind of traded a lot of the rest of the experience for that, but the Batmobile and the free flow combat were incredible, immaculate experiences. They're still some of the best and most fun, seamless gameplay. Like they still hold up. That said, the boss fights was absolutely traded in for that. Same with the story, just overall. I kind of felt shafted when Scarecrow was treated the way he was. It was like, and the Joker toxin shouldn't have been a thing. He got the cure. It should have been the end of that. He got the cure at the end of Arkham City, and that should have been the end of it. I genuinely believe that. However, it was fun to have Joker back in hallucinations and stuff. So, again, spoiler alert, but I also forgot to mention, talking about Arkham City, that Joker died, which was an incredibly ballsy decision. I love that. I wish they stuck to their guns with that. And I wish that Joker's hallucinations were caused by Scarecrow toxin, as opposed to the Joker blood B-plot. I hate that shit. It's not great. I'm sure it has its audience, but I'm just not in it. Robin could have been doing something else. Again, he should have had a story or like optional missions in the campaign. But he did not. Wow, I'm bumping that thing. I probably shouldn't have put it there. I even thought about that. But either way. And then the boss fights, yeah. Kind of ridiculous. This game shines, and the free flow combat shines when you're fighting hordes of enemies. When you're fighting one guy, it's like, okay, whatever. But I just can't get over the Deathstroke fight at the end of the game. Your reward for doing everything and taking down the militia is a Batmobile fight. A tank fight. I think the game would feel significantly more rewarding and people would hate the Batmobile less if it didn't have so many boss fights. Like you're fighting the Arkham Knight in a tank for one of the fights. So many Scorpion tank fights, it's just fluff. It's not necessary to the story, and you could have changed it. And if the Arkham Knight really wanted to defeat Batman, all he had to do was put people in the tanks, and then he couldn't. Batman wouldn't be able to kill him. Batman wouldn't kill them. He wouldn't be able to fight the tanks. He'd have to do everything on foot. It's ridiculous that, I mean, you give him a home run like that. From a gameplay perspective, it's fun, I think. But, I mean, you have all these other guys patrolling the city that don't need to be there. So many rooftops being manned. Just put some of those guys in some tanks, and there you go. Batman's screwed. Or more screwed. I think they'd still find a way to make him win, but... And that's what I'd want to see. I'd want to see a story with less plot holes, less Batmobile fluff. I do like some of the puzzles with the Batmobile, and I love the Batmobile. I don't want to be a full-on hater, but there are areas, right, where it feels like it's just a bit much, and it could have been something else, something more enjoyable, at least for me. Like I said, I'm sure it has its audience. I don't mind the DLC. I really like the DLC, actually. Sorry, not that I don't mind it. I love the Mr. Freeze ending. Killer Croc fight's not bad. I really like that with Nightwing. I love the not co-op fights, but like the duos where you can switch between the two. I think that was nice. If you can't have multiplayer, I think that's the way to do it. it was more utilized. I wish they just had Robin for the entire campaign. Like, why did it have to be, like, split up, right? Could have been Batman and Robin the whole time with optional Nightwing and Azrael missions. So, I think the story struggles a bit. I would have made some different decisions, but ultimately, I still love the game. I don't dislike it. I will rank it the lowest, simply because my enjoyment from this primarily comes from it being the ultimate Batman simulator, which is great, but I'm a narrative guy. I like the campaigns more than most other things. So, try not to hate me, but Batman Arkham Knight is getting ranked the lowest of the 4. Above it is Arkham Asylum. Actually, if I'm allowing nostalgia to control my decision, then yeah, Arkham Asylum would go above it. But now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, it's a bit dated. Everything on that game was improved, except for the Scarecrow. I feel like Scarecrow in the first game was, you know, he was cosmically cool, even if it was only for like a couple of brief puzzles. I really like it. So you know what? I am going to allow nostalgia to affect my decision. This will be Arkham Knight, Arkham Asylum. And then it's Arkham City and Arkham Origins. How do I decide? Because Arkham City and Origins were made in the same engine. Now Arkham Origins was definitely rushed, so they're very similar gameplay-wise. Just Origins is a bit buggier. But like I said, nostalgia and that Deathstroke fight. Honestly, I think it depends on the day. A part of me wants to be edgy and just put Origins on top, just because most people wouldn't like that. Most people would hate me for that. So I don't know. I just really liked it. The Deathstroke fight really does that for me. But you know what? Arkham City is a better story. So it's a much better story. I mean, I love the acting in Arkham Origins. I think it's really underrated again and overhated. And, you know, or it was at a time. Not so much now. It's kind of getting its flowers, but I still think Arkham City is just significantly better. And, yeah, it's just really good. So, yeah, Arkham Knight, Arkham Asylum, Arkham Origins, Arkham City. And pretty much the top 2 can flip depending on the day and the criteria, and the bottom 2 can flip depending on whether or not we're allowing nostalgia. If we're not allowing nostalgia and I'm basing them based on the kind of games they are, like the gameplay and how much fun they are. Oh, I just bumped it again. Then Arkham Asylum is at the bottom. Then it's Arkham Origins, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight, because the gameplay, like I said, is just really fun. So my ranking is very loose, and it could just kind of be in any order. I don't really see Arkham Asylum being at the top of any of the list, unless for whatever reason we're talking about, like, I mean, even this level design, it's a bit odd, right? Some areas of it's like, right, why is there a giant pit in the middle of the garden in Arkham Asylum? Like, nothing's happened yet. There shouldn't be a giant hole in the ground yet, right? So it's like, sure, whatever. They're all fun games. I love each and every Arkham entry, or every entry in the Arkham franchise. You might notice that I have neglected to mention Suicide Squad. I do own it. I trusted Rocksteady so hard that I even pre-ordered it, and it's the only game that I regret buying. I mean, even Gotham Knights I don't regret, but Suicide Squad's just ridiculous. So it's uninstalled, and I try to sell it, but I mean, I'd have to pay someone to take it off me. So that's it. I don't even count it in my canon. That's not either. I take Arkham Origins Blackgate, the spin-off game that I've never played, over that. The last thing I want to talk about, and this is more just kind of a recommendation if you haven't seen them, go watch the promotional CG trailers for Arkham Origins. Arkham City, Arkham Asylum. Arkham Knight CD trailer is alright, where it's talking about like Be the Batman, but Arkham Origins, that fight with Deathstroke was insanely cool. I love that trailer. The Arkham City one where he's taking on the Tiger Guards, it's so cool. And I take it back, if I said Arkham Asylum, I don't think there's one for Arkham Asylum. It's just kind of a standard trailer, but Arkham City and Arkham Origins had there's such bangers. The promotions for those two games, off the charts. I sometimes go back and rewatch them because they're just that cool. They really helped in my being hyped for the game, despite how much I loved Batman. I was always going to buy it, but either way, that's my 40-minute ramble. I went, pretty much twice what I wanted to, and I didn't even notice. Well, I hope you guys like 40-minute videos. That seems to be the standard on the channel. Go ahead and let you go now. Thank you all for stopping by. Let me know down below which of the Arkham games are your favorites. What you guys think about my opinions. Do I have, horrible takes, or do you guys agree with anything I've said?